Introduce yourself in one sentence.
Hi, my name's Nickolai. I'm 21 and I'm a producer based in Nottingham, and I do UK garage predominantly.
What was the track that got you into music?
The one track that I'd say almost kick-started my enjoyment for underground music was T2, What Can I Do? And I think I heard this at a house party when I was about 16 maybe. After that I kind of delved more into bassline sounds and understood that that was really something quite interesting, and something that I'd not really heard before. It's always the female vocals, and that transcends with garage as well. But it was just the silly bass lines underneath it, and more recently, all the stuff that's coming out on the likes of Skip and Rope Records, I think it's called, like Fallow, etc. I'm loving hearing their stuff at the moment. Proper silly, goofy bass line. A couple years after that, I think it was during lockdown, I listened to the Kiwi Sound mixtape that Conductor put out, and I'd say that was really the pivotal moment that I found my love for garage, and especially the new kind of sound, because I heard Ladbroke Grove and it took me a minute to figure out whether I liked UK rap or whether I liked garage. But then I heard Ladbroke Grove at the start of the Kiwi Sound mixtape, and then it went through all these other tunes like Sammy Virgie Whip It, iconic, and I actually found out that I was in love with the production. It was like the two-step, it was the 4x4, it was fun. Yeah, it's just, garage is so fun, it's never too serious, and it's so diverse, and I think that's what's really good about it.
Give me 3 artists and reasons as to why they played a pivotal role in your journey.
First of all, it was definitely Sammy Virgie when I was first listening and exploring that genre, from his bassline stuff like Air Max 90s to Find My Way Home, some absolute bangers. He was kind of like the gateway drug for garage for me, and like exploring that genre more. And then more recently, I've been enjoying some of the stuff that Main Phase has been putting out. I think that he's really pushing the balance between authenticity, that old school feeling, but also that modern clarity, I'd say. Skeptic as well is doing that really well at the moment, and I'm really enjoying that more underground side to things at the moment. So yeah, probably them 3. Yeah, as I said, that Sammy was the gateway, and as I discovered more dark two-step in particular, that inspired me with the likes of LB.
You talk a lot about LB. What is it about LB that...
I don't know what it is about the old school dark two-step kind of vibe, but it's mysterious. And for me, you don't get mysterious that much anymore. I feel like it's all more in your face at the moment, which I love, but I feel like there's a clear distinction when you listen to some of the bits back in the day, especially with the dark stuff. There's a lot of mystery. I once listened to like a podcast with I think it was Scott Garcia, and he was saying that with some of the old school garage stuff, it could be just drums and bass, no melody, but somehow there's just that soul in it, and that's not replicated these days, and I think that's really interesting. It's also he has a really good way of using stabs, and they always sound slightly off key, and they always just extrude, and I think that's what adds that certain mystery to it. And although it's not replicated entirely in the new wave in particular, I definitely respect that, and I like to create good atmospheres, especially in like the build-ups and things. And I've tried through the basses to create that kind of mystery and attitude and oomph that blends that old school with the new, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I think throughout pretty much every track, there's always an element of this like either euphoric or emotional bit to that. Where does that really come from? Do you know?
I don't know if there's a particular, I can't put my finger on it, to be honest. I think I've just listened to enough music now to like appreciate all the branches of garage. Like, don't get me wrong, there's some banging new stuff out right now, but I feel like it's quite easy to just bang some drums down and then bang a bass line on it. But for me, like, I like to try and think, how would I feel, so that in a club it would bang, but also if you're just listening on your own, it also makes you feel something. That's probably one of my biggest struggles. Most artists that I'm inspired by will just sit down and do what they want to do and see what comes from it. But the problem with me is I'll sit down and I'll be like, right, this label wants bits, this label wants bits. I know what they want, so I need to make something like that. Whereas, say if I start a two-step tune and it doesn't go to plan, then I'll be like, right, it's not done. Whereas if I find something melodic, I won't sit down and then follow the idea through, because that's not what I set out to do, you know? So it's a little bit annoying. I'm learning slowly to go with the flow a bit more, but I'm always wanting to make music that goes off on the dance floor, gets people dancing, but also can be listened to in other contexts as well. For me, it's all a big mystery. I don't have any musical background or anything whatsoever. When I started, it was just to see if I could do it, and then there was a lot of trial and error, and then I started making a few more bits that I thought, you know what, that's all right, and then I just kept going and going with it. For me, I enjoy when it's hard and I'm not making progress, because when I then make a tune that bangs, it's so much more rewarding to me. So what I'd say is, it's the mystery for me of like what am I going to make is really quite exciting. So in the context of the EP, it was quite interesting because I had the idea of doing multiple subgenres, bit of two-step, light bubbly, speed garage, jungle. Jungle's not garage, but you know, it's a nice progression, and it's my first jungle tune as well, which was really interesting to see how that one went. And I think there was just something so exciting about seeing what happens, sitting down, seeing what happens, and just going, you know, working with that. And the jungle tune that I made is now like one of my favourites, and I never thought it would end up being like that, you know. So it's just, let's see what happens. I'm not taking it too seriously, just, yeah. When you're in the DJ mind, you're always thinking about, on a night out, whether the warm-up's good, and then how the energy builds through a night, because there's something quite magical about bringing that energy up. And I would say that although it's not directly a timeline of going from low pace to high pace, I would say that the EP does take you on a journey, and it sets the tone really well. And then it takes you on that progression, like a DJ set almost. You might start with a bit of two-step to create that statement, some dark attitudey two-step, and then you've got that room to then build with a bit more 4x4 and take the set in another direction, and then go in with a bit of speed garage during the set to really get that energy pumping. And then when I closed with Different in Germany, we whipped out a bit of jungle near the end, and just to see what happened, and everyone loved it. And so I think in a way, it is that kind of magical journey through a night or through a DJ set, yeah. The track that surprised me the most was my jungle track. I heard it was in a house sample pack that I heard the vocal that says "Feel It." I pitched it up a bit and put it over some jungle drums, and I was like, right, this could be interesting. It's less of a genre that I'm aware of. I was less of a perfectionist about it, and I just let whatever happen. And then at the end of it, I was really kind of surprised at what I came up with. And earlier today, when we recorded the guest mix, and I played that, and it was the first time hearing it on some like proper loudspeakers, because I'd only been using headphones in Germany, and I was quite shocked at how good it sounded, you know. And so it's a different answer, because I'm still new at this jungle producing stuff, and I'm not sure what the future holds in that kind of sense. But yeah, that was what surprised me the most, and I think that's my favourite. I love listening to it just like wherever I am. And I'm always with speed garage and that, trying to fight to find space to like make everything. But for some reason with that, it just fit like a sandwich, you know? I'd quite like people that listen to the EP to resonate emotionally with some of the tracks, how they might be utilising their dance floor as well. And I'd like to give people the same feeling that I got when I was discovering new music, and hopefully using the new sounds that are coming out today, not just from me, but from many amazing talented artists from across the UK. I'd like them to be able to open new doors and discover new music, and I think that's what it's all about really. We're pushing the new sound, and that's what we're here to do, and we're staying. So if you were to come and see a set of mine, you'd be dancing through the whole set, but by the end there'll be tears in the club. I don't know if that's cringe or not, but mark my words. No, but like, you know, I don't know. I want people to not just dance, I want people to feel something. So there's a good balance of blending the old with the new. I'll listen to some old stuff and I'll be like, was that made recently? And that's because I've been hearing a lot of new stuff recently that is taking that appreciation from the old school kind of sounds. The bigger overarching word I've used is like authenticity, and I think that's something that I really appreciate now. But not just that. My taste does go beyond just garage itself. Since I've been out in Germany, my ears have started to open towards more trance and kind of the more techno-y side to things as well. And so I'm planning to hopefully integrate a bit of that towards the later end of my sets, like 140 BPM plus, because I am finding that really fun now at the moment. You full well know which track was the most challenging. It was a speed garage one. It was Dance Floor Damager, and that was because I was the mix that I cannot. That I hate mix downs. I absolutely hate mix downs. Sometimes I'll do 10 mix downs and the first one will sound better than the 10th, and I'm like, I've gone backwards. And I know we had quite a lot of back and forth with sending different versions over, trying to get it to sound right. And so from a technical standpoint, that was really challenging because I had in my head how I wanted it to sound, and I thought I got it, and then I'd wake up the next morning and it sounds completely different.
I think the one you sent me was Mix Down 10.
Yeah, but as a joke, I named the project like Mix Down 97, yeah. Something like that. That's a very good question. I'm not too sure at the minute. I'm definitely sticking and pushing that authentic sound. I'm trying to find more influences with the soul and the feeling of the old school 100%. But I'm still quite new in the production game and stuff. So just because I've found where I'm at now isn't going to stop me from still exploring, keeping an open mind and seeing where this journey is taking me, because who knows what the future holds, really. So this two-step that's coming out now, I'd like to try and find more of that blend between the old school kind of feeling stuff, but also add in the kind of, an extension of the first track on the EP, trying to explore more of that kind of avenue a little bit more in the two-step realm, looking at how I can create the new school oomph that gets people going crazy, but also making it feel kind of 90s as well, which is quite difficult because the old school is all about soul, and a lot of the patrons of the old school are saying like, oh, garage has lost the soul and that, but I want to try and find that balance, if you know what I mean. Automatic, Kai, I love you. We went to school together. That might be TMI, I don't know, but yeah, it's been sick watching us both grow, and he's smashing it right now. My mate Different in Germany, Before he blew up, we were getting to know each other in Germany, and I'm really grateful that I met him during my year abroad, and he kind of kept the production fire burning in me while I was out there, and sometimes I was a little bit lost. Ella, ESC, I met out in Germany as well for an event, and it was really nice to meet her, and she's smashing it at the moment, so big ups to her. Obviously N40, Nate, love you as well. Keep your eyes peeled soon for some bits on a certain label coming from him. Yeah, so that's all the new people, and obviously shout out the Warriors, Interplanetary Criminal, Dr. The Plate, Main Phase, Bakey, all them people, even Sammy Vergi, everyone that's inspired my flavours, my taste with garage, you know. And it's such a nice industry as well in comparison to what I've heard about others. So I'm just grateful to be a very small part of it, but in a nice big family. In the loft, there's a historic vinyl collection, and you're just rummaging through and you're discovering these new sounds. It was especially with the jungle one, we were talking about this, and you just pull it out, something that had no kind of meaning before, and then you listen to it and you develop that resonance with that track, and it makes you think, it makes you feel, and it makes you want to explore, and that's kind of what I want people to think. Some of my favourite tracks from when I was listening when I was younger, Ecstasy and is it Destination Alone? Yeah, Shuffer, he's done a banging mashup with like an organ bass line over the top, and if that's not getting people moving, then I don't know what is. For me, I discovered Transistor when my mate Automatic was booked for one of their events, and that's when I found probably the first small growing garage event in Nottingham, and at the time it was a lot smaller than what it is now, and so I kind of felt a bit of identity with them, and I made sure I went out to the events and I networked with the people, and they're all so sound, and it's really exciting to see where they go next, and I'm so excited to be part of the journey with them.
Sick. What's one quick little bit of advice you give for someone who's starting out producing?
Don't take it too seriously. Don't be scared to use Splice, because the majority of your listeners will not be nerdy producers, but try and put your own twist on certain things and have confidence in yourself. You can do it. It will take time. I don't think I'm anywhere near where I should be, but I've now accepted that that's going to take 3-4 years maybe. You know, be patient. The biggest lesson I've learned about myself doing this is that you don't need to have any prior experience or knowledge to be able to produce, and it's taught me that there's so much out there at the moment, and to help you not just with music production but with anything you've got, because I'm practically self-taught from YouTube, which is pretty crazy, and it just shows you what a crazy place we are in the world, that you can just learn anything you want just through like YouTube and things like that. But you need the patience, and you need the practice. It won't come like that. You do need to be self-sufficient and keep practicing, and you will eventually make stuff that you do enjoy. That's what I tell people. If you're thinking of getting into producing UK garage or DJing or anything like that, do it, because you won't know what is around the corner. I've had many times where I didn't think anything was happening, and then suddenly one collab's done this, or one tuner's done this amount, and it's open doors, it's open network to people. Be friendly, get out there, talk to people, go to events, chat to promoters, chat to other DJs. We don't bite, we're an amazing community. And so, yeah, that's what I'd say. Just go out there and do the best and smash it, because you will.
Tell us about the elephant in the room, White Noise Dub.
White Noise Dub. So, yeah, White Noise Dub. I made that over a year ago now. It was one of the easiest tracks that I ever made. I found this bass riff on Splice, put it in, and shuffled it along by a little bit, and it sounded like white noise. Found the acapella, and I was like, bang, right. I then put like a TikTok up about it, which gets over 1 million views. So then I put it out on SoundCloud, and then it's now on 1.9 million. My thoughts about White Noise Dub. I think fair play, however, it was too premature for me to have that amount of listens and stuff on something like that, because my ability to continue the momentum from that just wasn't, and probably still isn't there. Whereas some other talented artists would be able to capitalize on that, if that makes sense. And since then, it's had different trends on TikToks, really big with the Chava thing. If you remember, you remember. Keep it lemon and all that. But yeah, I'm positive about it. There's some things I'm like, right, okay, and that's enough. Like, it's dead now. It's dead, and I'm happy that it's had its moment and it's done. And an interesting thing is, the majority of people that have heard that sound don't know it's from me. You know, so it's not really made too much of a difference anyway.
Yeah.
That's. I don't know. It was a cool moment, but it was just the wrong point in the timeline.
So, if you could go back now, with the experience you've got, how would you carry on that momentum?
I think I'd just have that weight and scaffold that I've built now to be able to hopefully push that legacy on a bit more. Whereas back then I didn't know what I was doing. I had like A&R people from Sony, and I was like, whoa, you realise that this is like one of the first tunes I've ever put out, and it's a bootleg, and you think you can get some like cover artists to sing over it and clear it onto Spotify. Like, it was just a big learning curve in general. Like, I went from knowing no one to having some producers that have had the scaffolding then, who have now really blown. Like EFAN reached out to me, and like certain other DJs and that were like, oh, what is this your track? Which was really mad at the time, really. So it definitely opened the door to networking, which was really cool. I had like a few people reach out who had labels and stuff, and so it definitely opened the door for people being like willing to listen to more of my music.
Are you glad it happened?
I am glad it happened, because it definitely gave me leverage to get to even where I am now. Whereas if I'm speaking to someone and like they might look on the SoundCloud and then they might be like, oh, I remember that from something. So like, even if it's just something small like that, I think it's good to have. I just wish that I knew how to keep the momentum going after that, really. You know, the big fall off of Nickolai, but now the big rebuild. September the 6th. Get on Spotify, get on Apple Music, get on all digital streaming platforms. My new EP, For the Dance, is coming out. Make sure you don't miss it. And hope you enjoy it.